represent what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I anticipated this. I didn't know that it would be this egregious, that it would be this blatant. You know, I wrote the letter to get people's attention. Oh my God, did this really happen? And then bang, there's all the data. And so I think it's had the effect that I had hoped for, and even more so. But the media right now is really they're really showing their ignorance as well as their true colors. Because I haven't read one hit piece, one article, online or otherwise, that after attacking me personally, they then never go on to say, well, we've looked at your 20 bullet points, and here's why they're completely invalid and based in fiction. So I think that we put something out there that is so powerful that they can't figure out a way to disassemble it this time. They're doing all their research, and they're looking in all their archives, and rather than rolling out some experts or really looking at the facts and saying, well, this is questionable or that's questionable, we've really tied their hands. So all they can do is attack me personally, and it's sad. It's sad. I mean, I actually kind of feel bad for these people. That's all they got. Like, oh, well, he did this, this, and this. Okay, all right, keep going. Yeah, I did that. Okay, might have done that. Whatever. Let's get to the facts. And they just don't get there. But I think what we need to mention, Alex, is that we need to really thank all the readers that have commented, that have really supported me in the comment sections on a lot of these articles, because they themselves point out that it is clearly obvious, Mr. or Mrs. whoever, that you did not read his piece. You did not address any of this. All you're doing is attacking him personally, and it's just so predictable and completely inane.
Well, Charlie Sheen, TakeMilitary.com, dozens of comments. I only saw 2 that were against you, and they were mindless and sophomoric. The other comments, even though the story was a hit piece, said, look, his article does have a link to the Washington Post with 6 of the 10 commission members saying it's a cover-up, a lie. Yeah. There needs to be a criminal investigation of the Pentagon and the White House. And when I talked to you last night, you wanted to specifically get into that, and we will later. But first off, what about Cheney and the false flag stuff that came out from Cy Hirsch and even MSNBC? Tell folks about that.
Well, I think people need to really, really look at the connection, look at the reality between the facts that this is the same man that concocted this outrageous plan, as reported by Seymour Hirsch, which is detailed in the letter, for a false flag stage provocation to bring us into the Iranian conflict. And so people really need to look at that, and really need to look at the outline of the measure of this insanity, and then also take note that this is the same guy who violated or usurped a 51-year standing protocol to seize shoot-down power from the generals at NORAD. So the guy that came up with the insane Strait of Hormuz plan is the guy on 9/11, the only guy in the known universe with shoot-down power. And nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about my past exploits, and so on and so forth. So
well, I
don't have any credibility.
They're just jealous, as if the Pentagon boys don't have any exploits. Hookers are more ubiquitous than water fountains in D.C. Bill Clinton. But the point is, expanding on this, sir, and not what you did when you were 25, expanding on this, it's Dick Cheney that wrote the PNAC document September 20th, 2000, saying we need a big Pearl Harbor event, a big terror attack, a catalyzing event to launch our global domination.
Yes, which people will notice that's observed through the voice of the president in my piece and not by myself, which I think was key.
Tell folks why you had the idea. This was all your idea, and I think it was genius. Brilliant, as many have said. Looking at the piece, different literature sites, Hollywood sites, even some that disagree with you are looking at it and saying this is a really well-written 16-page script. How did you get the idea to have it 20 minutes with the president and then put it out the way we did?
Well, gosh, there were a couple of factors. There was a piece written by Aaron Sorkin, I believe it was in the Washington Post, over a year ago, and it was a fictional meeting between Obama and my father's character, President Bartlett from the West Wing, and Obama goes to him after Dad's out of office and asks for advice, and in the upcoming term, et cetera. And so I thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cute and really well written. And then a few months ago, I just woke up with the title in my head, 20 Minutes with the President, and I just started thinking, what is this about? What is this? And I started formulating this image of President Obama and myself sitting down and having a discussion. And I thought, well, what's the discussion about? What am I really passionate about? And the discussion's about 9/11 and about a new investigation. And then I got into it, and I lost focus. I lost momentum. I kind of lost my passion in the piece, and I watched a documentary called Press for Truth. It was about the Jersey Girls and the Family Steering Committee, and there was a gentleman interviewed in there, Bob McElvain, and I found something so powerful about his message, so completely disarming and really poignant to all of these feelings that I had and all these thoughts I had about the piece. And so I discovered my motivation in that moment, because I thought to myself, if this man who is living a life of this much sorrow can wake up one day and just for that day feel a little bit better about the state of things because of the work that I've done, because of the voice that I've utilized to bring attention to this, if I can do that for him, just one guy, then I've done something good. I've done something that matters,
And, of course, that's beautiful, Charlie. Bob lost his son, and he's now raising their grandson with he and his wife. He's going to be on with us later in the next hour. And to paraphrase what you told me when you called me and said you wanted me to come out and work with you on this piece, I was very honored, was that you'd had so many of the families had written to you over the years. You'd seen their comments and stories thanking you, but then saying, why don't others stand up with him? And some did come out in the aftermath of you 3 years ago and going public, that you are doing this for the families. I mean, you're somebody...
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
That is my focus. That is the driving force behind why I'm doing this. Yeah, but I think, Alex, people need to know how integral you were to this process. That I called on you as my research expert, as my point man on that front to really help me make this thing bulletproof. If you look at what you brought to it and what we've done together, I think it really speaks to the fact that they can't, as I said earlier, disassemble this thing, because it is it's bulletproof. And it is it's rooted in fact that we have collected from all of the mainstream arms of media, and so that's what's pissing them off right now, is that we're using all the stuff that they published, and now they can't refute it.
And it's ridiculous that Limbaugh, when it's all over the news in hundreds of papers, first line in the Times of London, LA Times, everywhere, that it was a mock letter of the points you'd like to bring to him, kind of a vehicle to publicly give Obama the data. And there's no doubt the White House has read it and seen it. You've talked to them. Now, moving on here, I want to later get back into the next phase with the White House, a declaration of arms in the peaceful info war to stand up for 9/11 truth and demand a new congressional, truly independent commission. But specifically talking about media.
Sure.
there was one particular show, The View, and you've got a challenge for somebody.
Yes, I do, Alex. Meghan McCain, John McCain's daughter, I guess, was on The View.